afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ARCHIDEX Fast Forward webinar series. My name is Joyce, and I will be your MC for today. ARCHIDEX Fast Forward is a webinar series focused on a holistic perspective from the industry. Each session brings together collaboration from the industry with renowned architecture and building professionals, sharing their experiences from various perspectives, including industry, business, and education to address current key issues and topics. Thank you for taking your time today to join us. We would like you to do a quick and short survey through the link which is now in the comment section to let us know how you think of our ARCHIDEX Fast Forward webinar series after this session. In today's webinar, the panelists will be sharing on the impact of epidemic, motivation and challenges reshape IEQ in built environment. With that, let me introduce the host and the panelists for today. We are delighted to have architect interior designer Alice Leong Pek Lan today as our host. Alice graduated from University Science of Malaysia with double degrees, Bachelor of Science HBP in Architecture and Bachelor of Architecture. She is the manager of Architect MAA Syndrome Berhad and experienced practicing architect registered with the Board of Architect Malaysia. She is now the Honorary Treasurer of Malaysian Institute of Architects. She's appointed as International Unions of Architects SDGs Commission Committee of Region 4 and also committee member in Architects Regional Council Asia, Green and Sustainable Architecture Committee and Zone B representative. She's a qualified GBI facilitator, a GBI accredited panel, a qualified registered professional interior designers, accredited building inspector and arbitrator under PAM panelists. Together with her today, we have two panelists with us. Our first panelist, Mr. Damien King, Sales Manager of Guard Inc. Syndrome Berhad. Mr. Damien has more than 10 years of experience in managing the entire project sales team in Guard Inc. Under his wing, and his team has successfully delivered more than 1,300 fans to almost 500 different customers locally and internationally. Therefore, undoubtedly, he can be considered as one of the most experienced HVLS fan specialists in the country. He is very passionate about his line of work and has since worked alongside numerous specifiers in the country to introduce the benefits of adopting HVLS fans for their projects. Our second panelist, Mr. Lee Joey, Managing Director of Jotex Syndrome Berhad. Mr. Lee graduated as Bachelor of Computer Science and Master in Business Administration. He inherited this family business of Jotex with more than 15 years of experience in home furnishing, manufacturing, and distribution, expanding the business network of distribution across Southeast Asia with more than 1,000 independent dealers and interior designers across the countries. He also achieved awards and recognition, being 2018 Soba Entrepreneur of the Year and 2019 Alibaba Netpreneur Program in Hangzhou. With that, I would now like to pass the time to our host, Architect Interior Designer Alice.
Thank you, Joyce. Hi, Joyce. Thank you so much.
Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for a short introduction about myself and also the other two panelists. So today you can see that we begin with this online webinar. It's touching more on the IEQ topics. I'm looking at the current pandemic, so I'm trying to relate back to the more bigger picture, which is the SDGs. For those who are not really familiar what the SDG means, is actually Sustainable Development Goals, which has been a while around the world. In the United Union Habitats, and we all talk about it. In Malaysia, I think since last year, we already tried to introduce what is SDG all about, but I think it's much more we have to do it. And same for our local governments. They also have been actually pushing for all these elements. So in this SDG itself, it already consists of 17 goals. So today I'm looking at it that humanity actually changed by the pandemics, especially this COVID-19. And the pandemics has actually forced all of us to reconsider almost every aspect of how we are living now. So the pandemics also show us the wisdoms, what is already inherited in the SDGs, and the SDG actually is the key and the roadmap towards the humanity. The global challenges we face cannot be dealt with just in isolations, and it is time for us actually to move and to upgrade the global human development. And with the key words is called no one's left behind. That is basically the concepts of the SDG. So today I'm trying to relate it to 3 goals out of the 17, which is goal 3, good health, and goal 11, which is sustainable cities and community, and also goal 12, which is the responsible consumptions and productions, into my topic is called the impacts and epidemics of motivation challenge reshape the IEQ in the built environment. So I'm sure that actually IEQ is not a new topic to everybody. Everybody has been talking about that. But today I'm trying to relate that how the pandemic itself actually bring us. It's like I take it is more in a positive way that it actually play a motivations for us to move forward. So many talks has been conducted online, and everybody's talk about the ahead of many things, that how you can provide a pandemic proof building and so on and so forth in terms of economies, the environment. But after thinking for a while, that we may want to step one step back or two to look into what is the current situation and how we can improve from here, bring us to the next one step or two steps ahead in future. So we realized that before the pandemic, actually people spend almost like 85 to 90% their activities indoors, and outdoors is about like maybe 66% that you spend in house and offices. But in this pandemics, depends on which areas are you, which country are you, that the increase of the people's doing their activities indoors and in the house actually increased by a lot, especially in this situation. It's kind of critical. So we realized that in the situations that in months back when we all locked down in the homes, I'm sure you and me and everyone around here that you will really experience that your living area, your house, is it a place comfortable for yourself? So when IEQ is called the indoor environment quality, it's a little bit different with the indoor air quality, IAQ. So we're talking about the environment. So it encumbers a much more bigger scopes around the area that we are living. So let me explain that. Previously, we are maybe looking into 5 criteria that we have to control, make sure we are comfortable in the areas that we are occupying. Say the sound quality, the light quality, the comfort, the air, and the audio. But now looking into the diagram itself, the items, the element has been added on because of simply by this pandemics, we actually realize that there's much more than these 5. So keep on and on, times moving on, things has been discovered in a more positive way, that these are the things that maybe we need to increase and upgrade by itself. So we do also realize that people start to talk about that in the IEQ you should actually include the electromagnetic radiance to be how to shield it away from, because we know that nowadays with the technologies that we have, every single elements, especially electronic items, is actually come with the radiation, and it's just a matter of how it can actually create the impacts, the negative impact towards our health, or so on and so forth. So the impacts of the poor IQ, we know that it can previously it will cause, and it still happens, that if you are in the environments actually with a very poor IEQ, you will get skin rashes for suddenly out of itchiness and fatigue, and then you feel asthma. You do not have asthma before, but suddenly you got it after that. So and then your eye irritations, discomfort, and then you have this kind of we call it a sick building syndrome. So what is called a sick building syndrome is actually that, especially in the office, one people caught in flu, then followed by the few. Then one people, you can see one guy get MC followed by the other few. So that means the working environments or the habitable areas actually suffer a very poor air circulation. It's one of the elements in the IAQ. So to improve the IEQ today is actually very crucial to help to minimize the impacts for the future in terms of the health risks, the energy demands, energy costs, and also the air quality. So I've been putting in more elements because of this COVID-19 and much more things that actually alert us about the wellness as a priority. So previously we has been captured the daylighting versus the heat gain from the sunlight get into the living area, the views that you get it privacy, and Certain areas you need to have a more openable to the external view. Certain area you require a private area, and natural ventilation always versus the externals, pollutants, the insect and noise. Enhancing cleaning procedure is the one I add in because of the, through this recent pandemics, social distancing, easy maintenance, hand sanitizing, and also the disinfections. These are the elements that we slowly captured and upgrading into our live environment. So here I'm going to share about short 16 guidelines toward a sustainable enhancing IEQ in our built environments. So you can look into the at the screen itself. There are many items that we are covered, but today we are basically focusing on the IEQ itself. So first of all, the first guide actually I'm looking at is the very basic guide that almost is very basic, but until certain people tends to forget or tends to miss out certain elements in your design, especially for an architect. So we know that before you get a site, you need to actually, before you start the design on the site that you get it, you have to actually do a very detailed site analysis, which consists of the dimension, the sun path, the wind blows, the orientation itself, climate, topography, and the climate data of the particular site itself. By looking at all this details analysis of that, you are able actually to assist and help to do a design. So then you will know that where is the design, the opening for the certain area, and then where is the location that actually can harvest the free sunlight as well as the wind into a building. So that will be minimized a lot of using of this so-called the artificial air conditioning systems, and we can actually emphasize more on the passive. But it doesn't mean that we can actually totally eliminate the air conditioning system. It's really in especially in this modern era, our building has been going more advanced and advanced, and things are again based on the functions of the building. Certain areas that you really need the certain system to support it. So it's very subjective, depends on the functionality of the building itself and what is the purpose for the building. So the next one, again, the building orientations is very important. Of course, certain site that you get it is very limited and very constrained with your choice of your building orientation. You know very well that the building always facing the north-south is the best to get the more cozy area, and then the east and the west is the areas that actually you try to avoid. But what if you can't? So then we have to put in more other elements, which I will share in the other few points later on, that help to actually enhance the overall thing. When we talk about the IEQ thing, we are not really just 100% focusing in the indoor. So to get a very comfort indoor area, you must actually take her from the beginning when the design starts. That's why I want to touch on this. So from the macro itself, then you come into the micro. So then everything relates and will give you the result of a better IEQ. So for the building footprints, for those who are not really the designers or what, so the footprint itself means that the site given to you, you don't actually like a typical layman and just build 100% of the site that you have. I'm sure you saw a lot in the neighboring hood. They have been keep extending their car porch into this, some even up to the boundary or even beyond the boundary a little bit, things like that. So this is actually practically, it doesn't really work in such a way. So that's always a reason why we need to control the overall of your building footprint. So the best is always you build 60% and then the 40% you leave it as the area. So that helps actually in terms of overall environments of your living area. If you have a landed property, if the high-rise building is the same. So that's the reason that when any of the authority, they always use the word called the plot ratio. Plot ratio is the way to also control how your building footprint is built. It's always come with a purpose, and the way you arrange your building footprint itself is also play a very important role, so that you can put the area, niche private outdoor area into the orientation that you want, and certain area you may want to make it as a more a public area. You can plant some trees or whatever it is. At the same time, you actually create balance of the small little ecosystems in your own lot. So each of the lots itself play by its own ecosystem. So before built, the ecosystem worked very well, but when you build, it definitely affected. So the building footprints also come into the pictures to balance off what the nature has been goes around, so that we try to minimize so-called the heat island effect as well as flash flood, all these natural problems. So again, the buildings of the shape. So in Malaysia, our humids, our criteria is actually fall under the hot humid climate. We are not in a hot area, the climate itself. Hot area climate is much more to the areas like the certain country like in India. They have huge, but certain areas, they are, when they suffer hot, they're very hot, but when at night it's very cold, then the climates go extremely cold. So no, in Malaysia, we are actually in the zone of called the hot humid climates. So when you know very well and understand your climate status of your own local context, then it's a lot easier for you to plan your whole entire buildings, how the opening should open from which directions, and then how the building shape itself should go, whether it should go elongations or it go in more squarish, create more courtyard, so on and so forth. So planning the spaces itself within the habitable areas of the building is very important also. So like I said before, the north and the south is actually always the areas that we want to occupy for more activities, especially in this pandemic area. So normally when we try to design, try to put the areas such as the toilet, the staircase, the lobby, the kitchens, this area, put as plan it as try to plan them and put them in the east or the west of the building. So the north south area, you can use it as, I call it, a buffer spaces, so that you can use it for your living, where the areas that you spend time with, you work with, and most of other activities as well. So again, come to the openings of the building itself, then we always emphasize that the ratio of the wall, the solid wall, and the window cannot be exceeded by 40%. So it again depends on your opening sizes, everything. So if you can't avoid certain areas, certain building, you still need to go for the using the glazing or certain material itself. So try to use a very high performance glass or high performance walls with a very good U value or R value of the certain elements that will treat the entire of the envelope of the building. And it actually, when the entire building's envelope has been well designed, that will help to reduce the heat gain, the heat glare, and all the unnecessary discomfort elements into the building, into the areas that you actually work with others activities. So in that, then you create a much more better indoor environment yourself. So then you did not need to spend more extra cost and extra design into this indoor area. It's just like your car, you buy a car. For those who actually park outside before at 12 noon without a proper high performance tinted to your window or high car window, so then what will happen is you open the door, you get in, then you know how it feels. It was really hot and it will feel like in the oven. So this is not what we want. It's the same concept that we don't want to get it into the building or the areas that we spend. So normally we try to prevent this discomfort of the heat gaining into the building, but because when you get it in, it's very difficult to get it out. So always prevention, always better than a cure. So these are the things that I can share. What I mean by high performance glass glazing. So whether the glass is tinted, with no tint, that will give you a different effects of that. And it will actually use a high performance glasses itself. You can actually eliminate, the unnecessaries of the heat gains into the building, but it does not stop the light getting through in the building. So we wanted about 60% of the light transmissions into the building. That is the free sunlight that you can get. Then you can try to reduce and minimize the using of the artificial light during a very good daytime. So another way is the way you arrange your glass glazing. So there are many ways of, depends on the buildings again, depends on the functionality of the buildings again, that what sort of performance glass you need to apply into the building. So certain glass itself is the same piece of glass, but you just turn it around and give you a different effect. So in Malaysia, we are a hot and humid country, and we want the sunlight, as I said, we do not want the heat, we do not want the glare. So we have to, arrange the uses of the glass in the directions that it will bounce back the heat to the outside again. But in a country that have 4 winters, then the same piece of glass they have to turn the other rounds. Then that will actually, they will get the heat into the building, especially in the winter. So that is depends on which area, which country that you are. So the design will be different. It could be the same material, but you just use it differently. So again, daylighting has been emphasized since long time ago, when I think green building has been introduced to Malaysia, I think about 10 years or 11 years. But now in the pandemics, we are more emphasizing on more. We want more daylighting, more sunlight, because now the time that we spend in the indoor is more than the time that we spend outdoor. We tend to do things a lot indoor already. I'm sure many of you has been also still working from home, and taking turns 3 days in a week or 4 days in a week. So it depends. So that is the things that when you start to work from home, then you know that which are the areas that is lacking in the sunlight, and you need to maybe switch on some lights to actually support your room. So then from there, you know that the design itself, the room itself is actually lacking on certain elements and criteria. So this is the awareness. I look at it more positive, that this situation actually bring us aware the areas that we stay, the area that we inhabited actually need to be upgraded. So then we can work and do our activities in a more comfortable environment. So more daylighting is, again, I mentioned earlier on, that is depends on your opening of the plot ratios of your buildings. Then again, your orientation of the building, north and south. So that will actually helps to play how you plan to get the harvest the sunlight into your building. But for facade actually facing the east and the west, what you can do, actually you can do by having some shadings and all this to actually to eliminate the direct sunlight, the glare into the building, but you can harvest indirectly into the rooms itself. So that will help actually to get this irritation of the glare into the rooms. So solar protection, in other words, is also called the shading, or we call it a fin. So it can be a movable, it can be a fixed one. Other than that, we also can replace with some verticals and horizontals of the green wall. So now you can see that it's actually getting more and more in our surroundings. But in our habitable areas, we also have to really think of it, how to actually implement this elements wisely. It's not that by aesthetically itself, but the aesthetically it must come with the value when you install it correctly and give you the correct function. So window shadings can be played by depends on how you arrange it in your openings of the in the buildings, and also the orientation. So in the screen itself, you can see there are many ways of doing that. I'm not going to touching on that because this will be coming into the design details really. The next one will be enhancing the natural ventilation. Then later will follow by others. So the enhancing of the natural ventilation, we are not just talking about the windows opening or the wall opening that brings the crisscross of the ventilations of the hot air and the cold air. But at the same time, we also have to think, also include the roof itself. So for houses area, a lot of houses are still using the pitch roof. So make sure the roof itself is a ventilated roof, means it's breathable roof. You can also help by using the putting some insulation. So insulation, I know that in outside there are many what do you call it, the insulation, they are just putting by a very thin layers of foil that I'll tell you it doesn't work at all. Even the insulation, if you put about like 50 mm, it won't really give you that effects, So I've been visiting some of the houses areas that really they put it, the insulation thickness is about like 150 mm. I think that will really give you a perfect cool effects in the areas. So it's true. I'm sure you experience yourself, not in your house, but also maybe in some of your friend houses, especially when they've done their renovation. I have seen a few and experienced myself as well. So end up they spend so much money for very nice extension renovations for certain of their living area, but end up for long term it become a white elephant and nobody uses this area. So this is the things that we do not want it to be happens. Whether it's a pitch roof, is a flat roof, all these roof especially directly exposed to the sun. From our point of view as a professional, we always advise to have a proper treated insulations roof, and pitch roof, please allow it as a breathable roof. So for areas, especially you have a very long shapes of buildings, another option you can actually opt for is actually for the roof vent. It's not so expensive, and I heard that is also some could be actually zero electrical using, so it's for you to venture how to put that and plan it smartly. Actually, it works well. Some of my friends around that has been implementing their houses, and it works very well. And the air circulation in the house are working perfectly well. Is another way and options for the natural ventilations. So you can see the comparison before and after. If you have a ventilator roof and put in the roof vent and all this, then it helps by a lot to cool down the entire of your habitable area. So, okay, this is the basic rules that I've been sharing for quite some time already, but I think it's a very good information to be shared here. So the roof solar heat gains, okay, it depends on the building. So if you have factory, a shop lot, or the landed property, we always emphasize that your roof coverage area is huge. So then your roof needs to be insulated. So, but if you have a high-rise buildings and a very slim, tall building, means the expose of the entire buildings to the sun, the surface itself, then it has to be treated. And of course, obviously, the roof coverage is become smaller. So these are the percentage that we always take it as a guide for all the design. Then from there, you almost know that the big coverage of the roof, then which one should be really put in the efforts to insulate the entire of the roof itself. So cooling itself is not just using the natural ventilations, but we also have other elements to help out to enhance the entire living area as well as the IEQ. So we can use the water bodies to cool down the areas, not just external itself, but also inside your living area. But you have to use it very wisely. It's not that just simply put a water feature, then it gives you the effect. No, I've seen some of the area they have been implement some water feature, but the effect is not cool at all. So it means when you get pass by, you don't feel the cool effect, but you feel the other opposite effects, So before putting any of the water features into, especially the externals, the big, huge park and all these things, I suggest a proper and thorough site analysis, and also the ecologies, topologies around has to be studied in detail, and look around the building, around surrounding yourself, as well as the climate itself. Because each of the building, especially high-rises building, when you build it up, it will affect the ecosystem by itself. So this is the way how some of the concept that you can use it for your indoor area. And of course, another thing, when we besides the emphasize on the natural ventilation, we also have to also think of the area that you can't avoid, but you have to use some of the aircon systems or the artificial systems to help to enhance the indoor environment quality. So in this situation for this pandemics, we have to really consider and also have to emphasize on using the greater ventilation systems. I call it a high performance HVAC systems for this pandemics building. So the concept of it, I think later, I think Damien can share, because I think he's much more expert than that. He can explain much more for that. So I'm just basically touching on that. This is roughly a concept that is really, again, emphasized. It's almost work as well as our passive design. It's always emphasized on the good circulations of your ventilation, whether you use the technology to help to circulate the ventilation or by natural crossing. The planning and the design itself must be right. So then you get the right effect to your entire of the living area. So the next one we are looking about is actually the building envelopes and the material itself. Previously, we've been talking about that we emphasize a lot there. You have to use a material which is actually certified and approved by the local authority, especially like timbers. And then we emphasize a lot on the recycled material, you reuse material. But right now, because of these pandemics also, we are started looking into some others enhance or add-on elements or add-on points, such as it has to be easier to clean and wipe and for sanitizations. When you are staying in your certain area, because we are now that we can't actually the sanitizer is actually become part of our daily elements that you bring all around. You wear gloves, you wear masks and all these things. So areas like that, and then equipments in the office, the material that we use for each of our daily life really has to be considered, including your living area. So we always look for the materials that can be really help us to ease our maintenance. So we always call it easy maintenance, easy to clean. So of course, when talk about IEQ, we also talk about a very good acoustic. So it gives you a very comfort environment. Then when you talk, when you do certain activities, the voice and whatever will be properly absorbed into the materials itself, rather than it bounce back and give you all the echo effects. So other thing is also from inside also to the outside as well, the external finishes. So the finishes for external and also the internal is also play equally important. So it included not just the material itself, but also included the color that you choose. So we always emphasize go for the lighter color. The lighter color for science theories, you bounce back most of the radiations or the heats to the back to the natural areas. But you use more darker color like the black, dark gray, and anything in darker color, you absorb more of the heat into your living area. So that is the things that we do not want, because it's just like you're wearing a clothes. If you wear a black clothes, and you're standing under the sun for, I bet you for 1 minute, you'll be feel the whole heat's actually absorbed into your bodies really. So that is a discomfort that we want to get rid away. So the same thing for our buildings and our living area as well. So same for the roof itself. So most of the time we're also using we call it the solar reflective materials, either for the roof, for the wall, but also actually for your landscape area, especially the hardscape area, means your paver, the pathway that we walk around. So these are the materials that actually we look into, that we always select, and we always advise other consultants and other constructions players that try to give a combinations of the more brighter material contained. If you want to get some coloration, say gray, we want the matching of the coloration is the whiter elements, or contain more domain than the darker elements itself. So for the roof itself, the same thing. We try and always opt for the brighter color, light gray versus the dark gray, things like that. And then your wall, we always go for the lighter color, the white colors, very, very light gray, rather than we go for very darker colors. I mean, darker color maybe give you some very designer feels, whatever, but you also have to think of this heat absorptions into the building. So if you have these kind of things, then we have to think of how actually to bring the heat out from the building envelope before it getting into your habitable area. So again, come to the renewable energy. Solar actually is not a new thing. It's a very common item really, but it's just that how we actually play our part smartly to use these solar panels, actually not just to help us to save the electricity, but we have to smartly to implement the solar panels in our house area, as well as the office area or any other commercial areas. It helps to actually in terms of cost cuttings, and this element itself is not so much expensive compared with years back. And the chief tariff for the electricity is always, we can talk to the TNB authorities to see how the benefits and the grants or the incentive can be play along. So water is also another very important element, especially in pandemic. And I'm sure that last month, I think almost the entire KL Klang Valley has been suffered, shortage of water, especially in this pandemic, where we emphasize always you have to keep yourself, keep your hand always to be washed, hygiene and all these things. So imagine without the water, what you're going to do with that. So water actually play a very important role in our daily life. So in the IEQs as well. So I break it into three criteria, which is a rainwater harvesting tank, how you harvest your rainwater and use it for certain daily errands. And also the next one will be the recycle of the grey water, so that it helps you to save some of the water bills and water costs and in much more sustainable way. And also the next one will be to be smart to select a very high water efficiency appliances. So for rainwater harvesting system itself, we need not to actually spend a very expensive the entire system for this particular system. I think in some of the building, especially in Pan building, we also have this particular rainwater harvesting system, and it's proven actually when most of the areas have no water, but the building itself actually we have a lot sufficient water for other usage. So for houses also we can use that, but by incorporating some of the good quality of the water filtrations, then it can actually uses the water for other better use activities as well. So grey water is the water that actually you use for after you washing your hand, cleaning your plates, or maybe you have a shower. So these are the water basically we normally discharge directly to the, to the externals. But these are the water actually we can recycle and use it for other purpose. For instance, you can recycle and use it for irrigation, means for watering your plants, things like that. So these are the items that we can actually consider, so that after you're washing your hand, it's not so dirty, but the water itself, you can actually use it for maybe cleaning your car wash floor or whatever it is. So these are it depends on how you're actually using it, but definitely it's not for drinking. Grey water is definitely not for drinking. So normally we use it for irrigations and other purposes that you may is okay with, not a very 100% clean water to do to clean the area. So the use of very high efficient appliances also help you to save in terms of the water bills. So in this pandemics, everybody suffered, not just the way you suffered from your movement, distancing and all this thing, but the most impacts that give you to the entire world actually is our economies. So in this situation, everybody's actually going through a very tough life. So we are trying to actually use every of the items very smartly. Every single pennies count, so including the water. So even though water bills in Malaysia is still considered cheap, but we have to use it wisely so that we don't waste the sources that we have. So the last, I think the last second point will be the efficiency of the solid waste management. We're talking about the rubbish, and I'm sure that during the lockdown areas or the MCO area, you will realize that how much and how many of these so-called waste has been produced by each of the family household. So when your garbage outside is actually full out, then you're waiting for your alarm clock to come and collect. So these are the systems that we want to actually upgrade already. So now we are talking about a lot of things that is everything's by technologies. We are talking about contactless e-beam. So other advancing and developed country has been using that. So I think in Malaysia, we should also look into this criteria so that we can manage our waste management smartly, especially for people who stay in the condominiums that we're talking about contactless. So the garbage rooms, how you transfer your garbage into the refuge chamber is very important. And then from the refuge chamber itself, how your garbage can be actually transferred to the truck itself. So some technology has been coming into play, IoT, I mentioned it. So this is the area that we have to work together with the stakeholder as well as the policymakers to enhance the entires of our country here. So the next one is also, last but not least, is actually the electrical appliances. So right now, because of this pandemics, we are also talking about that contactless, touchless, as long as we don't touch anything, we don't whatever, then we feel very safe. And also we try to minimize chances of doing the, keep on spraying the hand sanitizer into our hand. So what we're trying to do is by using the technology, the apps, with the contactless, with the face screens, the thumbs, your heat, your voice command. These are the things that we are looking into implemented into our indoor and house living area. So it can be actually enhanced entire from the public interactions to the private interactions. So I think that's about it for today's sharings. And I look at the whole things that the COVID-19 pandemic actually lead towards rejuvenating our world. So looking into more positive, it's actually bring us towards a better living lifestyles. So thank you very much. And without further ado, I think Joyce, our moderator, has been introduced about our two panelists from Guardian as well as Jotex, which is Damien's as well as Joey. So I'll just invite Damien's to the screen itself. And maybe Damien would like to have a very short introductions about your companies, your products, then we will move on to Joey. So Damien, I hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Architect Alice. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having us. So I would like to briefly introduce our company. So our company has been established since 2001, and we have been one of the key industry player in promoting better indoor ventilation. Okay, a subject that has been lengthily spoken by Architect Alice. All right. However, this IAQ, or rather, matter of fact, indoor air quality, has been an elusive subject that has been pretty much under the radar. Say maybe 20 years ago, so nobody really knows or really cared for about what IAQ is really about. I personally spent the last 16 years or so in developing or rather promoting this indoor air ventilation. And I want to say that this subject particularly has seen a lot of growth, right? Maybe because people are beginning to feel, or they feel that it is very important to their health in terms of in regards to this indoor air quality. So my company actually we distribute, or rather we have a distribution network with some of the top retailers in the segment, such as electrical chain stores or kitchen and bath stores, lighting shops. All of them, or rather all of us, promoting the advantages of having better IAQ. All right. Other than that, for my project side, we also work very closely with specifiers, developers, as well as architects to also promote the better use of this indoor air quality. All right. So what is it really that we do? We are very specialized in ducted ventilation systems. All right. When I say ducted ventilation systems, means you basically have an equipment that is mounted on the ceiling. All right. And whatever air that it expels goes out of your home and not into the roof, as opposed to what the common practice was probably 20 years ago, where people only know about exhaust fans, right? Basically, you just slap a piece of exhaust fans, a propeller fan on the ceiling, and just discharge everything that is from your bathroom, from your bedroom, everything into the roof, and it goes nowhere. All right. So we are trying to change people's perception in that regard. Okay. And of course, our ducted ventilation product ranges are mainly catered for residential. And we particularly, under the brand AirGuard, we are very well known to have a very beautiful looking or a highly aesthetic ventilation system. It's highly popular with a lot of architects and IDs, as well as consumers. All right. And also to touch on a little bit, one of our unique selling point is we also provide this our in-house installation services rather. It's all done in-house. So we are also able to provide consultation services to especially homeowners. Homeowners are really in the dark about this when it comes to proper ventilation. Okay, I think that's all. Just a brief introduction from me. Back to you, Architect Alice.
Thank you, Damien. And without further ado, I get Joey to get to the screen and to have a short introductions about your company's profiles and products. Then we can come to the discussion later. Joey, hand to you.
Hello.
Okay, Joey, you can go on with your short introductions. Joey, can you? No, we can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you. So you can proceed to your short introductions. Joey, is everything all right over there? Okay, I think there is some lacking in the internet. Okay, it's okay. While waiting for Joey to get back to us, maybe I'll just quickly move on to Damien. Damien, hello. Let's do
Alice,
some
yes.
yeah. Let's discuss a bit while waiting for Joey to get back to us. Okay, so you're talking about the selections of the models, or the I call it the correct system, especially for the our households especially. I do agree with you that a lot of people, especially laymen, they are not in the construction industry. They have no idea what sort of or what type of the system actually work well for their area. So they just simply buy, or maybe they think that, oh, this is the latest model, they just get it and buy it. So whether they go to this direction, they really give them the right effects to them, sir.
Yes. Okay. I think whatever that you have shown just now is very informative. All right. I personally, on a personal level, after seeing your presentation, I really hope that maybe the PAM or related society can actually provide more of such platform to educate the consumer in general. Right. Really fantastic. I think you have nailed it all. I think it is very relevant, especially in this kind of in this time of pandemic, right? I always look up to architects from Singapore because I always feel that they have they are way advanced, more ahead than us, right, in terms of this. All right. So back to this IEQ. IAQ, indoor air quality, is actually a very much big subject, or rather a big sub-subject of IEQ. All right. However, just to put it in a layman's term, indoor air quality for me is about putting the V, or rather the ventilation, back into the equation, right? In simple explanation, maybe to the benefit of our viewers, I think bad IAQ means basically just means bad air. All right, bad air from allergen, bad air from contaminants, maybe carbon dioxide, excessive carbon dioxide. So the Q here is actually to put adequate ventilation and exhaust back into indoor spaces. All right, and especially in this kind of pandemic, virus spreads very easily. We all know that. All right, and indoor spaces are notoriously more polluted than even the outdoor. That means if you shut yourself down, windows closed, you are more dangerous than as compared to if you go outside. Of course, you're not talking about very, very polluted countries, right? Then in those kind of scenarios, probably you stay indoors is better than staying outdoor, right? So on a local context, I think IAQ is a very loosely guided subject. There has not been much emphasis, number one. Number two, there has not been much localized kind of guide for local consumption, i.e., it means more than this authority. I think most of our local authority, they do not emphasize a lot. I think the closest one probably I have seen some guides published by this DOSH, right? That's about it. I look at it, it's like they just basically just copy and pasted whatever that was done in the US. And some of it also I felt like, okay, probably is not very applicable here, because why? We live in different kind of environment. We don't have 4 seasons here. Like you mentioned, it's just hot and humid. So our focus, rather the IEQ, our version of IEQ should be very focused on hot and humid. All right. So just to give you an example, back to your question just now, how do you actually make a selection? Well, it is a very wide subject. There is no one size that's going to fit all. Firstly, the most important thing I always ask my customer is, what are you looking at? Okay. How much are you willing to spend? And thirdly, I also have to look at the existing condition of the building. Are you building a new house? Are you already, or you want to make improvement to your existing house? So these are all very important key points I need to understand. So just to give you an example, how do you make a proper selection? I think to make a proper selection, first you need to understand how many of the air change per hour that you are looking at. All right. If you, according to ASHRAE, of course, ASHRAE, by the way, is Institute of Heating and Refrigeration in America. So whatever standards that were published by them is basically meant for more like only for the US. I know they have a Malaysian chapter here, but I haven't been following much on the local chapter here, right? So according to them, a bathroom should only have about 8 air change per hour. All right. And as a matter of fact, it is also in the same tune as our local bylaws, right? Which is about 10 times per hour. The only difference is our local bylaw says if you don't have a window, you need to have a mechanical ventilation, 10 air change, right? Just to put that a little bit into perspective, I've spoken to one of the professional engineer. We were just casually talking for a particular project, right? So after the whole official business is done, then he came and asked me, hey, actually I'm doing a renovation for my house. Do you think I should get this double the air change? But I thought, that is by the bylaw. He said, no, actually the bylaw, everyone knows it's outdated. It doesn't work. It doesn't work as well. You still have foggy mirror, you still feel very stuffy, the kind of thing, which is exactly what I said is outdated. All right. But can you blame them? Because I think no one is there to actually look into this, to constantly improve it. So I hope maybe Architect, at least you will be the pioneer in pushing this vision forward. I sincerely hope so. Right. As to back to selection, probably if I were to explain to you in details, I think I won't be able to finish even by 8 o'clock. So I just give you a simple example, a real case example, right? I think 6 years ago, I was approached by this German guy for his house in PJ, right? It's an existing house, it's a single-story house. So he called me over. So we sat down, we had a discussion. While having a discussion, I felt extremely comfortable. I asked him, how do you actually how do you create this? It's so comfortable. It's just dry enough. It's not humid. Oh, then he shared with me. I had a very good insulation. I fixed up a very good insulation system, right? I changed all the glass to double glazed windows, right? I kept the entire house air conditioned, and he even, as a matter of fact, he kept all the doors open. I said, great. Sir, how do you achieve this such a comfortable space? So he was telling me it's very simple. You just have to keep the heat out, right, and keep the cold air in, right? And then I said, how much does it cost you to monthly? How much do you have to pay to this TNB? Less than 200 ringgit for such a kind of living comfortability. It is fantastic. But of course, he spent a lot of money in putting a very good insulation and the double glazed window and all those things. So then the next question is, so why do you need me here? So, because of this reason, because of how he designed his house, how he runs his house, he needed something that actually can bring in fresh air and exhaust at the same time. So okay, I say okay. So that means if I bring in air from outside, it's going to be warm. It's going to affect your air conditioning. You probably have to turn up your air conditioning, and you probably have to pay more. That's exactly the point. So what he needed is just a very, very low air change. It's only about 2 air change per hour. And that is, for him, is good enough. German guys are very scientific. So, but if you turn it down to 1 to 2 air change per hour, that's going to take forever to clear up the air. Well, then I just have to turn it on longer. So it's just a matter of perspective. So do you ask me, how do I select this? Do I give you this or give you that? So there is really no one answer to this. So the best thing is consult us. I think that is the best thing to do. Then we will guide you, which I have done with thousands of customers, thousands of happy customers. Because at the end of the day, we are still dealing with humans. Humans have got different expectations. So I'm sure, Architect Alice, you can attest to this. The most difficult part is actually in dealing with expectations. Once you have dealt with their expectation, then we know what to propose. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you, Damien. Actually, your story of the German guy, I think, is a very good example. Yep, even though he spent much more in the insulation and other items and materials, but that is actually for that time only. But in
Yeah.
long run, in return, he get back. I think is more saving, and he
Yes,
get the
exactly.
even better good quality of the environment quality. Okay,
Yes.
okay. I think Joey has get back to us already. So
Okay.
okay, Joey, are
Back to
you
you.
good? Yeah, Joey.
Okay, thanks. Do you hear me?
Yes, yes. So
Okay,
okay,
yeah, thanks. Yeah,
yeah,
thank you
passing
for
over to
coming.
you. Yep.
Yeah, let me introduce ourselves. We are from Geotex. Our tagline Simplicity Living. So let me go through our company. So Geotex Sanjay Bahas was founded in year 1989 by Mr. Mervyn Lee, my dad. So we are actually a leading global supplier of interior furnishing fabrics. Our extensive collection and design connect fabrics that met all residents and commercial, that including curtains, drapery, and upholstery. We sold over 1 million meters of fabric annually each year with our unique Geotex technology solution that actually helps our customer achieve efficiency and value throughout the entire supply chain. So basically, we can reduce the cost and also speed up the process of delivery. We are now in 10 countries. Our fabrics are distributed more than 1,000 curtain dealers, interior designers, sofa, furniture manufacturers, and the hospitality healthcare sector as well, across Malaysia, Australia, Singapore, Cambodia, Hong Kong, Myanmar, New Zealand, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. We are working closely with our partners, Geotex partners and customers, suppliers, is constantly enhancing the technical knowledge, expertise, continuous investment in the operation, service results sustained in improving satisfaction. So we are more focused. We are not just a textile company. We are more towards technology-driven company. So what we do is from the process where we start design our products with the colors, the pattern, everything. Then we prepare the yarn to weaving. We select the machine to weave, like it's either knitting, weaving, or depends on the quality we need. So the color process with the dyeing, with the highest quality of inspection, then we deliver to our customers and shipping worldwide, supply globally. We have our in-house design studio where we design our construction of the fabrics, the colors, the material, the composition. So, and we work closely on the certification lab. We actually certify with the ISO 9001, the quality standard, and also more important, the Ecotex environmental friendly certification, which is at the moment, which is very important for the health and environment. I will talk about it more later. We have a cutting edge operation. Basically, we offer our dealers and interior designer with the low minimum orders delivery using our logistics handling and procedure. So we have online B2B inventory checks, Then the orders, everything is sent in, confirmation, invoice, everything is automated. So customer can actually trace their orders online. These are the B2B system that we built to actually enhance to speed up the process. Our marketing support, so we provide dealers, interior designer with the design, photography, room sets, image swatches, lifestyle, whatever they need on our platform. Our company basically passion for people. So when we united, we stay strong. So we believe that the stronger and successful company today is equally have to be strong value, the principle that inspire us. Yeah, so that we are all Jotex today. When it comes to our environment and social approach, we are ISO 9001 certified, and our motto is that we care about our people and environment. The green conscious, we endeavor to supply fabric that are environmentally safe and not harmful to human health. These are the very important Ecotex certificate that proven that is the fabrics, the whole supply chain. There is actually no chemicals from the yarn, from the weaving, from the dyeing. So these are the consistent that we have to meet. And also these are the international standard reach that certified by Europe, and we are also ISO 14,000 certification that working with our supplier to make sure everything from our final product to end consumer it is all environmental responsibility.
I think again,
Our products and demand where IEQ be from home. So technology
okay, I think some line is not stable from Joey's side. Okay, we're sorry for that. I think Joey's line, the site, I think the line is unstable. So we get back Damien to the screen now. Damien?
Yes.
Yep. So I think Joey can share actually more with us, but unfortunately today his line is a bit unstable compared with not a good day. Yeah, correct. I think I saw outside is going to rain very soon too. Okay. Yeah. So no worry. I think we also a bit exceed a little bit of the time, but it's okay. Maybe one more questions for Damien. Okay. Since we're talking about this, I know it's a very very broad scope. So you really can talk until tomorrow or after. But to my curiosity is, recently I think there are few one or two products in the market that started to implement this so-called UVC or I call it ultraviolet elements into this kind of a HVAC system. Either they install together with the AHU, or they install with the portable or movable the split units, whatever it says actually helps to kill bacteria and most of the viruses. So in your opinion, how do you think that works? Whether is how efficient is that? And in terms of cost, whether is it sustainable?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Archidec Alice, for your question. In my opinion, UV lights has been around for the last 100 years. So this is not exactly rocket science or new technology. As a matter of fact, it has been used in the medical industry. From what I gathered, I think they have even used it. The founder actually got a Nobel Prize for using this UV light to actually treat skin disease. Quite a while ago. I don't know whether they still do it or not. But I have also heard this UV light system being used, like you said correctly, in the AHU or the centralized air conditioning system. I think its efficacy has been shown to be quite effective, though popularity-wise in Malaysia, I'm still not too sure. I mean, I work with a lot of contractors, aircon contractors. I haven't really heard them talking much about this, and thus therefore I think even the pricing itself also I'm not too sure about it. But I have been approached, or rather we have been approached by a few suppliers before on this ionizer that you put into the AHU system. So it's kind of fancy. They have a lot of report and so on and so forth. But I am still not too convinced about it. Probably I'm also a very scientific person. I base my judgment a lot based on research and also studies that has been done. So it has not really shown a very great impact, or rather high efficacy ratio, how much of bacteria or how much of viruses. Viruses, as we know, it's constantly evolving. So to have somebody come and tell you mine can actually destroy 100% of all viruses, so I think that is more like a marketing gimmick. So its efficiency still remains to be seen. Residential wise, I have totally have not heard of anyone that says they're going to put up like a UV ventilation system and so on. No.
Okay, so it's yet to be scientifically proved how efficient it works. So yeah. So, but I still believe that what you has been explained much earlier is again that even though stick with the current system and the technologies that you have, together work well with our plannings of the entire of the layout, how you plan the entire of your area itself, it will actually works very well. Again, it's back to our old timers, like our grandmother's times. When the time, I think their systems are perfect. You know, the way the design, the wind harvest. Yes, even the Chinese shop houses. It was a very long building, but it's a very cozy, wind ventilated.
Right.
Wow, that's really perfect. I think with the new technologies that we have, I don't believe that we can't do that. You know, we should be actually much more better, you know, with the passive and the active system together. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, Damien, I also actually heard from some of the my engineers friends said and some of the real doctors work in the hospital, they also constantly complain to me that the doctors work very hard to save the life, but at the end when the patient is out from the operation, and then because of the poor ventilation systems and the bacteria got inside and die of bacterial infection, so the doctor feel very frustrated. So then they told me that actually they found that, like you say, maybe could be our requirements has not been updated for long. Really is a time for everybody to look into that, how to actually update. And I look at it that the complaint that I actually receive is one system but applied to the rest of the entire of the building. It doesn't look into the functionality. So I'm sure your system actually cater for each of these different function and different purposes.
Yes.
Right. Especially the doctor is a frontliner in the hospitals,
I think to relate that, I can relate that on a personal level. I have an aunt who was hospitalized for a minor surgery. Subsequently, she stayed there for almost like close to 6 months.
Okay,
Because
Damien, I
of,
get Joey
yeah.
join us. I think
Yeah,
he's back.
Okay.
Joey? Joey. Hope your line is okay now. Joey, all good?
Hello. Yeah. Very lag the internet.
Okay, Spine, Damien, maybe you just quickly finish off your point, then I'll just get some
Hello.
ideas
Can't hear.
from Joey.
Oh, okay. One of my relatives was
Okay,
actually
Damien.
hospitalized. Yeah, for a minor surgery, but she ended up in the hospital for 6 months because of this MRSO, multi-resistant strain organism, which is a bacteria that has already evolved to resist these antibiotics. So it is a very dangerous situation here that we are looking at. On a local context, I think hospitals, I think one of the lacking part is actually the maintenance part. It is not maintained. That is the core of the problem. It is not maintained. It's not that the system that is in place is not good. I think it's the maintenance is almost like zilch. It's close to zero. So I think that is a part I think they have to take care first to reculture the maintenance mentality first before you even talk about equipment. I think there are a ton of equipment to circumvent this issue or rather reduce the risk. Like UV is one of it. Having a proper filtration with a proper filter is also very crucial. But ultimately, no matter what you put in, if you do not maintain it, then it will come back to square one. Yes, that is my opinion.
Okay, Damien.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think Joey also, I think we are trying to get him back. So sorry for that. I think,
No problem.
it's not a good day for him today.
Not a good day
Well,
for him.
okay, a lot of people saying that going for using a good performance or HVAC is very costly, which I do not think so, because just now you have given me a very good example of your German client. He does not need to go very, very expensive system, but he get back what he deserves. So, what about for other buildings such as commercials, and even comes to other like a mall and all these things? So, do you agree with that? That choosing the correct system, it will actually give you a benefit in terms of cost saving as well as the energy saving.
Absolutely. I think to most Malaysians, we all can relate to having to wear a jacket to go to a shopping mall. Why? Because the air conditioner is extremely cold. Why is it cold? I think all this again is back down to uh, the mentality of human again. How do you operate it? I think from a construction point of view, a lot can be done in the sense that from the design stage, I think a lot more can be done rather than just picking up what is right in the market, what is the most expensive, or rather you think that it is best suited. I think the key here is a lot of us are driven mainly by commercials. We are only looking at the cost. I want the cheapest equipment. I want this. I want that at the lowest cost. But they do not consider things like more energy saving systems, right? That consumes maybe 30% lesser. On the long run, it will benefit. But it's just that in the short upfront, the investment cost seems to be a lot. So I think it is the mentality, or rather mentality of people, that we have to change first.
Okay, great. Okay,
Joey
since like we get Joey back, so I better quickly grab him before he's going to run out again. Okay, Joey, understand that you're doing dealing with a lot of fabrics. Oops. Okay, I hope he here. Joey. Okay. So seriously, it has been changing to few different other gadgets, and it doesn't seem like helping. So I think it's okay. I think for the audience, Joey, you back? Okay,
Yeah. Sorry,
last chance for
Jerry.
you. Okay, never mind. Quick one. So understand that you're dealing with a lot of this kind of textiles and fabrics and all these things. So I'm sure that you will emphasize on how to select material, especially whether it has to be really in low VOC, and then your material whether contain any recycle materials, and how are you going to advise people to actually choose the right one. You know, like for instance, like the curtain. You do not want to have a too thick curtain so that you don't allow the transmission of the light into your rooms and all this. So maybe you want to share about a little bit on this.
Yeah.
Pick one,
Actually,
perhaps.
just now the slide actually I want to present our new products is actually the air purifying range from our curtains. You see, so it's actually indoor air hygiene that the curtains actually will actually filter and clean up the air. So actually, our indoor air contains the odors and the volatiles organic VOC released from the household furnishing like carpets, window shades, wall covering, rubber floorings, chemicals, and stuff like that. So we actually have a new solution. Is actually using a UV light to actually improve the indoor air quality. So it's a kind of nanotechnology. It uses the light as a source of energy to drive the chemical reaction. Is so-called a photosynthesis. So the innovation is actually a textile surface that interact with outdoor light source to interact with and destroy the air pollutant compound, the VOC, just by using light. So just imagine the consumer benefit is that their indoor textile, their curtains, sofa, rugs, when they apply this kind of chemical, it can actually improve the air quality indoor. These are some of the technology that IKEA is currently using. So as a part of our distribution, we are actually working on this kind of technology. So actually, it can destroy the surface on the air, and actually sanitize the air. And the fabrics, when it's treated, it can actually last 24 hours because once the sunlight is heated on the fabric, it can actually keep ongoing on the process, and it can last at least 20 washes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, okay, yeah, I think, Joey, thank you for that. I think we are really running out a bit of the times already. So, do not worry. I think for all the audience or the whoever attend these sessions, I'm sure you have a lot of questions you want to ask Damien, you want to ask Joey about different things about how to actually enhancing your indoor environment quality. There's so much things to be asked. So welcome, actually drop your questions, your whatever you want to ask, queries here. We'll try to answer to our best. So I think for now, I would like to thank you, Damien. I'd like to thank you for Joey. You work very hard to come back to us. Well, yeah. So
Thank you
for that.
for supporting.
I'll hand over back to Joyce, our moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Alice, Damien, and that was an awesome sharing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time today. We would like you to do a quick and short survey through the link which is now in the comment section to let us know how you think of our webinar session. We hope to see you again in our next webinar. Thank you. See you soon and stay safe. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. See you. Bye.